Picture walking into a boat dealership and being told that the exact same yacht you looked at 6 months ago now costs $75,000 more. Not because they upgraded it, not because demand went through the roof, just because a trade rule changed while you were still thinking about it. That is what is happening with imported boats in America right now. A $500,000 European yacht just picked up a $75,000 tariff charge, a $1 million Taiwanese cruiser, an extra $320,000. But there is a group of buyers quietly snapping up the last imported boats that cleared customs before these tariffs hit. They are paying the old prices. And once those boats are gone, they are gone for good. So let's break down exactly what happened, what it means for you, and how to act on it before it goes away. On April 2, 2025, the White House dropped what they called Liberation Day tariffs, sweeping new import, duties on goods from nearly every major trading partner, and boats got caught right in the middle of it. Before that date, bringing a boat into the US was almost laughably cheap. The base customs duty on most fun boats sat between 1 and 2.4%, sailboats and inboard motorboats at 1.5%, outboard motorboats at just 1%. For decades, this is how the global boat market worked. European builders shipped yachts to American dealers, the paperwork cost almost nothing, and buyers never thought twice about where their boat was made. Then the tariff hammer came down and the numbers changed overnight. Let's walk through the new rates country by country, because depending on where your dream boat was built, the math looks very different. European Union countries like France, Italy, Germany, and Poland now face a 15% total tariff rate. That was actually talked down from an even higher starting threat. On July 27, 24, 25, the US and EU reached a deal capping the rate at 15%, which includes the old base duty. So if the first duty was 1.5%, the new tariff adds 13.5% on top. That 15% hits every major European boat brand you can think of: Beneteau and Jeanneau from France, Azimut, Ferretti, Riva, and San Lorenzo from Italy, Galeon from Poland, Axopar from Finland, Bavaria and Hans from Germany, Fontaine Pajot and Lagoon catamarans, the entire European sailing and luxury yacht market, basically. The United Kingdom actually came out a bit better at around 10 to 11.5%. That gives British builders like Sunseeker, Princess Yachts, and Fairline a 5-point edge over their Italian and French rivals. In the 65 to 130-foot range where British yards go head-to-head with Italian brands, that gap matters. It could truly shift market share, but the real pain is further east. Taiwanese builders face 20 to 32% tariffs. That is crushing for brands like Ocean Alexander, Horizon, and Outer Reef, which have spent decades building a loyal American buyer base in the 60 to 120-foot luxury cruiser market. These are top-shelf boats with great build quality, and overnight they became far pricier than similar European options. And then there is China. Chinese-built boats face combined tariffs north of 45%. That number stacks Section 301 tariffs, return tariffs, and fentanyl-linked duties on top of each other. During the worst of the back and forth in April and May of 2025, the combined rate briefly spiked to 145%. It has come down since then, but 45% is still close to a brick wall. Here is what catches people off guard about the China situation. Several well-known brands that buyers link to American or British routes actually build their boats in Chinese shipyards. Pearl Yachts is designed in Britain but built in Zhuhai, China. Nordhavn, the famous ocean-crossing trawler brand, builds some models in Xiamen. Celine Ocean Yachts, another well-known trawler builder, works out of Zhuhai. Marlowe Yachts, same story. These brands are all facing the 45% rate, and it is already forcing big moves. Nordhavn is right now shifting production from China to a new yard in Taiwan, moving molds for the N625 and N80 to a shop in Kaohsiung. That is a huge, costly effort driven solely by tariff pressure. The one bright spot in all of this? Canada and Mexico. Boats that qualify under the USMCA trade deal enter duty-free, which shields Canadian builders like Princecraft. Now, here is where this gets really interesting for anyone thinking about buying a boat in the next year. The way US customs law works, tariffs are charged at the moment a boat is formally entered for use through Customs and Border Protection. That is the legal term. It means the duty rate that applies is the one in effect on the day the boat clears customs, not the day it is sold to a buyer. Once a boat has been brought in and all duties paid, it becomes a domestic item. Period. No backdated tariffs apply, no matter what happens to trade rules after that. This created a split market right away. Foreign-built boats that dealers brought in before April 2025 cleared customs at the old 1 to 2% rate. Those boats are sitting on showroom floors and in dealer marinas right now, priced based on the old duty math. Next to them, any new imports from the same factories carry the full 15, 20, or 45% tariff baked into the sticker price. Same boat, same factory, same everything, but one costs tens of thousands of dollars less because of when it crossed the border. Dealers figured this out right away. MarineMax, the biggest boat dealer in America with over 65 spots, started running homepage banners saying, "Luxury without delay, in stock and tariff-free." Local dealers across Florida, the Chesapeake, and the Great Lakes all shifted their pitch to push pre-tariff stock. Stanton Murray of Murray Yacht Sales put it bluntly when he said the boat they have in stock may be the best deal buyers get in the next 3 years. If you are looking at a pre-tariff boat, there is one paper you need to ask for. CBP Form 7501. That is the U.S. Customs Entry Summary, and it proves exactly when the boat was brought in and what duty rate was paid. Any real dealer will have this on file and should be glad to show it. But there is one big catch. This stock is limited and it is going fast. Groupe Beneteau, the world's biggest boat maker, said that their American dealer stock levels had already gone back to normal by mid-2025. That is a nice way of saying the pre-tariff pile got soaked up. The special pass for boats that were on the water, which let vessels loaded before August 7th and landing before October 5th come in at a lower rate, has already run out. By early 2026, the pre-tariff window is basically shut or very close to it. So what does this actually look like in dollars? Take a $500,000 yacht built in France. At 15%, the tariff bill is roughly $75,000. But it is actually a bit less than that because U.S. Customs lets you subtract American-made parts from the taxable value. If that French yacht has $60,000 worth of Mercury engines from Wisconsin put in at the factory, you are taxed on $440,000, bringing the tariff down to about $66,000. Still a huge number, but worth knowing the math. A $1 million Taiwanese yacht at 32%? $320,000 in tariffs. That is a second boat worth of money added to the price tag. A $1 million Chinese-built trawler at 45% plus? Over $450,000 in combined duties. At that point, the tariff costs more than many perfectly good used boats. And here is the part that bugs American boat buyers who think they are safe because they are buying domestic. Even though 95% of boats sold in America are built in America, homegrown builders are not safe from cost bumps. The 50% tariff on imported aluminum directly hits the 96,000 aluminum boats sold every year, including pontoon boats, which make up the single biggest slice with over 35,000 units each year. Aluminum fishing boats, John boats, aluminum trailers, all hit. The imported aluminum markup jumped 54% within days of the tariff news and is up over 160% since January of 2025. Brunswick Corporation, one of the biggest marine companies in the world, put in 4% price hikes across their model lineup and forecast a $35 million yearly. Some tariff hit on their business. And Brunswick builds in America. If you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. I break down stories like this every week so you actually know what is going on before you spend your money. The engine picture adds another twist. Mercury Marine, the only major American outboard maker, builds its top-tier V6, V8, V10, and V12 outboards at its plant in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Those carry zero import tariff. But Mercury's mid-range outboards, built at a company-owned factory in China, 45% tariff. Their small outboards under 30 horsepower are made by Tohatsu in Japan under contract and face the 15% rate. Yamaha outboards, the other leading brand in the American market, are almost all built in Japan, 15% across the board for most models over 25 horsepower. Smaller Yamahas under 25 horses actually come from a factory in France, also 15%. Suzuki, Honda, and Tohatsu are all Japan-built, all at 15%. Fiberglass cloth, which is key for building boat hulls, is mostly sourced from China and faces the 54% tariff. Marine-grade stainless steel parts, LED lights, wiring bundles, and seat fabrics all have heavy Chinese supply chain ties. Boat Test, one of the most trusted testing outlets in the marine world, summed it up with a pretty blunt warning. They said boat prices are about to take a very big jump, far bigger than those seen during the COVID buying rush. They pointed to the combined weight of tariffs, a 10 to 15% US dollar drop in value that was the worst first-half slide since 1973, supply chain problems, and what they called inflation opportunity price creep, where companies quietly tack on 2 to 3% margins under the cover of tariff chaos. Now, if any of this feels familiar, there is a reason. The boating world has been through a tariff disaster before, and it nearly wiped out the market. In 1991, Congress passed a 10% luxury tax on boats priced over $100,000. The thinking was simple: make the wealthy pay more. The result was a wreck. Yacht sales above the $100,000 mark crashed 80% in the first quarter. From 1988 to 91, sales dropped 73% total. 19,000 marine workers lost their jobs. At least 8 major boat builders, including Trojan Yachts, Bertram, and Tollycraft, went broke. And the tax money? It raised just $7.3 million from boat sales against a target of $31 million. When you added in the jobless checks the government had to send out and the income tax money it lost from all those layoffs, the net result was actually a loss of $7.6 million. The government literally lost money on the deal. The tax was killed in August of 1993, but by then the damage was done for good. American market share shifted to European builders and never fully came back. Boat Test called it the day the U.S. cruiser industry was murdered. What is happening now is different in key ways. These are import tariffs, not domestic sales taxes, and they actually help American builders at the cost of foreign ones. But the pattern is the same. When you force up the cost of boats, fewer people buy boats. The National Marine Manufacturers Association reported that new powerboat sales fell roughly 8 to 10% in 2025, dropping to around 215 to 225,000 units. NMMA President Frank Hugelmeyer blamed the drop on the mixed and shaky economic climate and what he called a wait-and-see mindset among buyers. Brian Redmond, CEO of Suntex Marinas, voiced the deeper worry when he said their biggest risk is that somebody decides the boating life is just not worth their time anymore. That is the real danger, not that people switch brands, but that they quit boating altogether. So, given all of this, what should a smart buyer actually do right now? Option 1 is the most time-pressed. Find pre-tariff imported stock that is still sitting on a dealer lot. It exists, but it is thin and getting thinner by the week. Focus on the European brands in the 15% group because that is where the savings are biggest in raw dollars. Ask for the customs entry summary to check the duty rate. Do not take anyone's word for it. Option 2 is the used boat market, which has blown up. Used boat sales jumped 16.6% in the first half of 2025 compared to the year before. 77% of buys on Yacht World were pre-owned as of April 2025. Used boats now make up roughly 80% of yearly sales, with nearly 860,000 used boats sold in 2024. The value case is clear. A 3-year-old European yacht with low hours that was brought in before the tariffs is now worth more than what it first sold for in many cases because getting a new import of the same boat costs so much more. Option 3 is to go American. Boston Whaler, Grady White, Scout, Sportsman, Tidewater, Yellowfin, Invincible, Viking, Bertram, Mastercraft, Malibu, Nautique, Bennington, Harris, Crest. The list of great American-built boats is huge, and they carry zero import tariff on the hull. Yes, you will still pay a bit more because of aluminum, fiberglass, and engine part tariffs, but the bump is in the single digits, not 20 or 30%. Option 4, for buyers in the bigger yacht market above 45 feet, is foreign flag sign-up. Register the yacht under a flag like the Marshall Islands, Cayman Islands, or British Virgin Islands, and it can enter U.S. waters on a customs cruising license for up to 12 months without paying import duties. You leave for 15 straight days, reapply, and repeat. HH Catamarans said that the foreign flagging business is getting a huge boost, and they are already seeing filing backups. This plan works, it is fully legal, but it only makes real sense for bigger boats where the tariff savings cover the sign-up costs and hassle. There is one more wild card worth watching. The Supreme Court is right now looking at whether the president even has the legal power to set tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Spoken arguments happened in late 2025, and a ruling that strikes down IEEPA tariff power could flip the whole picture overnight. On top of that, China's paused 34% return tariff is set to kick back in during November of 2026, which could push Chinese boat tariffs back above 70%. Here is what it all comes down to. The days of bringing European, Asian, or Chinese boats into America for next to nothing are over. Whether you see that as a shield for American jobs or a needless tax on buyers depends on where you stand. But for anyone shopping for a boat, the math has changed at its core. The pre-tariff stock window is the last shot at buying an imported boat at old world pricing. Once those boats are gone from dealer lots, they are not coming back. And if you have been sitting on the fence about a boat buy, the fence just got a lot pricier. If you found this breakdown useful, click the video on screen right now for a closer look at how tariffs are reshaping the whole marine world. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next.